Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Perakee Podcast. I'm Brad Mulhall, and with me today I have Louisa Firethorn, and she is the inventor of the Sonosphere. She's got a really cool thing she's invented. It's like this soundscape. It's like, well, I can't describe it. You're gonna have to describe it to me. It sounds really cool. It sounds like something that you'd want to have. I believe you said you took it to Burning Man. We have the big Shambhala Music Festival up here. You got to try and get that thing up here. I think people would think that's a really, really cool thing.
Well, thank
the
you.
Way the soundscape that goes all around. So why don't you tell, ladies and gentlemen, about yourself, who you are, and about your invention?
Thanks. So my name is Louisa, and I live in the San Juan Island in Washington State, and I have been working on the Sonosphere project for 20 years, and it started out as my senior project at Western Washington University. I did a self-designed major in integrated studies, and Sonosphere was my final project. And it started out as an art installation, and it's just kind of grown and evolved into a greater project, and also just more objective than sort of like experiential art immersion. It's now a full-on therapeutic device, which uses vibrations of sound to sort of massage the body and nervous system with like the resonance of some pure tones. And we play the resonance on the Sonosphere with our haptic system, which is like a vibrational speaker that you put on the floor or onto an object, and the vibration makes it you're able to feel the sound, not just hear it. And so we have a really strong, soundscape, sound bed that is delivering standing waves to you, to the human body. And all of our participants and clients just report that this feels really, really amazing, even reduces pain. And even though we're not able to make any direct claims in that regard, that's what our clients are saying. And it is a truly unique experience of sound for anyone who is an audiophile, for people who really like music. This is just an entirely new way to experience it. The full spectrum of sound down to 20 hertz that you can feel in your whole entire body. That's basically the premise, yeah.
Have you guys tried any of like the, I know like 528 hertz, that's supposed to be like a really healing one. Do you guys ever try any of those different ones like that, 432, 528?
Yeah, you can play any chord you want through the Sonosphere. It has an ambisonic sound system, which you can play anything through, and then it has a haptic sound system, which plays pure tones, and the tones are under 200 hertz, so they're not heard, they're felt. Right. And you can make whatever kind of chord you want. You can base it on whatever music scale you want. So it's really infinite. We do play a lot of music that has been tuned in the 432 music tuning. And we also play stuff that's not. So it just depends on what, the client wants to hear. But yeah, we've definitely played with 432, and our personal take on it is that the 432 is just it feels a lot more natural and flowing. It's kind of hard to describe. It makes everything a slight bit flatter. But it just seems more natural that way. And the music made in that tone scale is actually pretty, it's really lends itself well to the sessions that we're trying to do, where we're trying to relax people, and have them let go with the flow. So yeah, I would say we do try those and others too, like solfeggio. Um, we just do different, different styles of sessions for different people, depending on what their objective is on the sonosphere. Some people come to the sonosphere for like a therapeutic sort of healing session, and some people come recreationally just to experience it.
Right.
And some people want to bring their own CD and have us play their favorite music on there, which we will do that as well. So we've got a lot of options for sessions for what they sound like and feel like.
So can you describe the device more? Like it's moving, the speakers and stuff are moving around you as you're in it. Does it not? The sound?
Well, the speakers don't move; they're stationary. But it is a sphere. The structure of the machine is a sphere, and you're inside the sphere, laying on a platform that's in the middle of the sphere. And then there's a copper. There's a sphere that's made out of copper piping that's around that, and the copper sphere is the part that spins, and
Right.
it provides a hypnotic focal point that kind of helps people go into a trance. It also strips static from the machine, and grounds it. And it also is a sort of a wave guide. When it spins really fast, it helps keep reflecting waves from the environment from coming back in. So it just cinches the sound sphere harder. And that's a very subtle attribute, but it's there.
Yeah, no, this sounds like they say resonance and frequency and stuff is how they use possibly move blocks in the pyramids, and that they use sound healing and stuff. This is ancient and forgotten knowledge, or maybe forbidden knowledge, and I totally jive with this idea, like that sounds and frequencies. I mean, just music that you are really into. There's some music that make you really good for running, when you're running on the treadmill, or make you very emotional when if you're feeling really low or feeling really angry. You can really vibe with music. So I think this thing would be a total trip, like you say, being able to really feel it. And I really think it's the future. We just don't understand what tones. I'd be interested to see, like you say, what the results are at different frequencies, different tones. Like
Yeah.
what the people experience if you could do a study that way to see about 528 or 432, or you go on YouTube, there's all kinds of different hertz there to relax or to heal you or this or that. It would be neat to see if people experience different things or healing or on all those different frequencies.
Well, they do. I think the strongest feelings that people get on the sonosphere, though, come from frequencies that are not popular and they're not famous. They're like resonant frequencies that the person, it's like their weight added to the sonosphere's natural resonant frequencies. It shifts the resonant frequencies when the person climbs onto there, because it adds their weight to the total mass of the system that's vibrating. And so because of that, each person has a unique resonance frequency and a set of harmonics that is specifically tuned to their body. So the first part of the session, we find those frequencies for each client, and we listen for when the resonance is happening. And the way we do that is we do a frequency sweep from 0 to 200 hertz with the haptic system. And haptics are, vibrationally felt physically. They're not heard because they're below the human hearing threshold. But you can feel them. It's like when a truck drives by with a big engine, or an airplane is taking off and you're in the cabin. It's like that rumble that you feel in your chest. That is haptic level sound below 200 hertz. And so we play a frequency sweep from 0 to 200. And when we hear overtone harmonics coming out of the sonosphere's body, because the sonosphere has like these hollow arcs that go up. There's 4 of them. And they create a sphere in the middle, the structure that holds you up. And when we can hear the sound resonating in those caverns, we start to hear overtone harmonics that are in the audible range. And when we hear that, that's how we know that we've reached resonance frequency with the person on there. And we record that frequency and we try to find the lowest one. That would be the fundamental. And then after we find that one, we calculate a chord that is harmonic based on that. And it will amplify all these overtone harmonics. If we use thirds, octaves, fifths, or, we can do any combination to make a chord. And right now we have a 4-part chord. And, in the future, we want to build an even more complex model that would have 5 healing chords possible. But right now we just have 4, which still is amazing. And when we also shift the phase difference between the 4 chords, because we could have them all waving at the same time. But that we found that's not as interesting feeling to the body. So when we start to shift them so that they're like a quarter wavelength away from each other, and we ratchet them, we have the 4 banks and we ratchet them, we can get some really cool effects as the waves start to overlap in geometric ways. And that is where we can play around with where the waves are building up inside your body. We've been able to cause resonance in the trachea, in the sinus cavity, in the uterus and stomach, and a lot in people's spine, especially. We're able to resonate the spinal, the skeleton, essentially. And, each one of these places in the body is a cavernous place inside you. And the resonances, the standing waves, they build up inside those cavernous areas in the body, and they can cause internal stimulation. And it's stimulating the nervous system, the fascia. Basically, every cell in your entire body is getting on the same page with this because they're all vibrating at the same time, at the same frequency. And I think there's a really great, like, unifying effect that the sonosphere has on the body that's kind of unique. So, we do 30-minute, 60-minute, and 90-minute sessions of this. And, basically the longer that you stay on there, the deeper you can go with how the vibrations will affect you. And we find that an hour is really good, and 90 minutes is really, really good for your back, for pain, and for circulation, and to stimulate the nervous system. And something we're really excited about is doing, test sessions on people that have nerve damage, or nerve disease of some kind, or even paralysis. We're interested in, can the sonosphere stimulate or wake up neuron networks that are dead or, not connecting. It's possible. So we want to try that.
That's really cool. And can you describe, like, how does it feel to you personally, like when you're hitting those resonances, maybe like totally or in the separate areas? Like what does that feel like to you?
It feels really cool. It feels like tickling you, or it's vibrating, from the inside, really internal places that are usually just not touched individually. It makes you aware of parts of your body that you're just usually not aware of, because everything just feels all, smushy in there. They're just connected. It's all one thing, and the sound pulsing through you in different ways as it goes through different thicknesses of your body, different materials inside your body, different densities. It just feels different, and you're picking up with your mind like so much information about sound that's coming through you because you can see how it feels in your brain. It's so weird. And people that have, musicians or people that can see sound, people that have synesthesia have an especially interesting time, because they can really like see the sound waves in their mind's eye as it's pulsing through their body. And that is a pretty cool sensation. I'm one of those people, so it's been pretty fun for me.
That works out really good. That you're one of those people.
Yeah,
That probably helped with designing and everything like that.
it does. And the base thing that people feel is like a massage. So after 45, 30 minutes, just kind of depends for certain people, your autonomic nervous system will give over to this experience, and you'll be able to relax and let go of your control, whatever. It takes a while for people's sense of control to like go away on the sonosphere. And then once you let go and you surrender your mind and everything, and the vibrations just take you away, and the sounds and the music that we play on top of that just kind of takes you away. And a lot of people say after about 30, 40 minutes, they start to get like a floating sensation. And we're changing the frequencies and the ratios between them all the time, so it doesn't get boring. And we're moving it around your body in different areas. So, and we're also moving the sound that we're playing, the music, like with that. So it always kind of feels like something is happening, something's about to happen that's really cool, and you're just on this journey, and it just keeps the sound resonance just keeps moving around in your body to different places. And it also makes you feel like you're getting wrapped in a burrito of sound, or you're you're tilting on the platform, or some people say they're floating above the platform. These vibrations give people just like a total smorgasbord of sensation. And it is different for each person, but we get a lot of people just sitting up at the end being like, wow. And they just don't have the words to like say it, because they're still coming into their body. After about like 15 minutes after the session's over, people start feeling like they can talk again and like say what it was like. It's like it really gets you far out there.
Sounds like a like very similar to psychedelic experiences, right? The surrendering and everything like
Yeah.
that, and not being able to describe and coming back. Has anybody? I'm sure people have tried psychedelics in it. Did anybody report craziness and that avenue?
Yeah, we've had quite a few people try mushrooms, and
Right.
also had a few people try ketamine that had ketamine prescription. And both of those were just mind-blowing sessions. I mean, they've got the mushroom mind, on the sonosphere tends to open up for lack of a better word, like psychic tunnel, that helps the person on there see the future. I've had both of the people that tried shrooms on there were like telling me they saw the future. They saw their life in the future and how it related back to the past. And they were just full of like telling me all this stuff that they, downloaded when they were in there. And two different people, same exact story, essentially. Not what they saw, but the fact that they saw it. And then the ketamine ones were like the most healing for the body. Like people just, crying because it's so amazing. Bliss, total, complete bliss. And that was, to me, I think the most healing, also for trauma and PTSD, emotional release, grief processing deep grief that's been stuck for a long time. So there's a lot we can do with it, and it's also the only one in the world. And I'm trying to figure out how to like, get my manufacturing costs down so that I can produce them for a reasonable price. And that's been a hard part for me, because I want to help as many people as possible. And this is also like almost a half of my life's undertaking to build only one.
So you gotta get it down to like some IKEA home
I
built
know.
kit thing that you can mail out to some. How big is the sonosphere?
It is approximately 12 cubic feet.
Okay.
And it is also like minimized for the human body at this size. So I've heard a lot of people tell me like, oh, you got to make a smaller one so you can take it around and everything. And I'm like, dude, this is the smaller one. This is like the minimum of what you need to fit a person that are average height, which it goes into 6 foot, 6 feet tall, 6.5 feet tall, whatever. The circle is 7 feet across. So
Right.
we can accommodate people that are like, maybe 6.5 feet tall. If they're taller than that, then they're going to be a little bit squished on there. But
This isn't something that you can be towing on a trailer right now, or if it's 7 feet on the inside, it's got to be 10 feet or something around across the outside or more, right?
it's I mean, if you are on its tightest dimension, it is like 8 feet across.
Right.
And so it's pretty much, it'll fit in a lane. I could put it on a trailer, but the whole thing is like, once I would have to buy a vehicle because I don't have one to pull a trailer. I would have to get a custom trailer made. And
Yeah.
that's a lot of money. And then after that cost comes the gas to go on the road, accommodation, food and accommodations to travel all over. And once I add all that up, combined with like how much I can get daily for running sessions and that are,
Right.
it doesn't really make sense for me to travel around with it. It's so expensive. It's way more affordable if people come to it and go on a trip that's way more affordable. And so one of the things we're trying to do is make a retreat out here that has like really beautiful place to stay. And you can try to do your sonosphere session. And we also want to do, as it becomes more legal, or once we get our, psychedelic church thing or going or whatever, we want to do like psychedelic retreats out here with,
Awesome.
integrated psychedelic integration counselors and massage and, food and everything. We live right by the water, so there's like paddleboarding and a beach. And I just think it would be a really perfect place to do at least summer retreats. And even right now, just without any, we live out in the woods. It's hard to get here. It's not hard to get here, but it's like far. It's like far from Seattle, like maybe an hour and a half to get here from Seattle. But we still get like 10 sessions a week, which is
Wow.
really a lot considering we haven't put in any advertising. It's just word of mouth and my social media networks that I use. So
You did take it to Burning Man at one point, you said?
yeah, I took my second prototype to Burning Man in 2007. And that one did not have the haptic system. It just had a surround sound system. But it was really nice. It was like a double Bose surround sound. Each had 6 and a sub. So it was like a 12.2 surround sound. And that was really nice. And I took that, but I had a yurt. I had a yurt that I took for it, and it just didn't keep the dust out. Obviously, it's Burning Man. I was my first time going to Burning Man, and it was really adventuresome to like try to bring an installation on my first time going there. And I did give some rides to some really high people, and that was fun. But there was like a dust storm that came through and basically just clouded my yurt with dust, and it got inside my speakers, my amplifier sucked a bunch of dust in. It was basically killed the sonosphere on like day 2 of Burning Man. So I had to just close the installation for the rest of the time. And I was super bummed because of how much work it took for me to bring it there and set it up. And I've been to some other festivals too. I took it to Emergency in Oregon in 2008. It's been at Beloved festival in 2009. It's been around, and I've done the festival thing, and people do absolutely love it. But I'm working on something that's going to be a little bit easier to take to festivals and hold more people. So that installation is coming, and my plan for the Sonosphere is to just keep it in one place and let people plan their trips, plan their vacations around trying it out. Because I seriously think that not only is the Sonosphere worth visiting, but the place we have here is so beautiful and magical, it's worth visiting too. And to make it, if people around here, they're lucky. Like,
Yeah.
like people around us who can just drive here for a day afternoon or whatever, they're lucky. But we've definitely had people fly here from other states to try it. I had one person that was just in desperate amounts of pain from fibromyalgia, like get on a plane to come and try it. She absolutely adored it and thought it was extremely helpful. She's going to be coming back for like a month of treatments soon. And this is like people that are on opiates every day, and they're trying to figure out a way to get off that, or to like take it down a notch, and this is an alternative. It just is. So yeah, that's our future plans as far as I can.
It shouldn't be a problem trying to make a resort. I mean, I'm on Vancouver Island. I think it's pretty much the same type of geography as we are, or where you are. It's not far apart. And I know I work as underground miner in a camp, so I got people on my crew that come from New Brunswick and Newfoundland, Nova Scotia, and Saskatchewan, Arizona. And that's the best thing I like, is when they first get here and you take them for a drive, they're just blown away by the beauty of the West Coast, of the mountains and the ocean, and it's definitely a place you could make a resort that people would want to come to from far and wide. And the Sonosphere is definitely a drawing thing, and all these alternative healing things. I'm excited for the future, and all these tryings of different methods and everything like that. I'm a huge advocate for microdosing. I have been for years. That saved my life and so many people's life. Everybody that's done it, I've had people, big tough miners, holding me in the hallway, hugging me, crying that I set them free because they've now been introduced to microdosing. And so, like, yeah, adding the Sonosphere for this, I'm gonna have to take a drive down there and come check it out.
Yeah, you should. And we've had several people microdose. The doses I mentioned before, those sessions were normal doses.
Yes.
And we've had quite a few people actually come on microdosing, which is awesome. I just love it. And everyone is welcome to come as you are, in whatever state you want to be in, to go on the Sonosphere. The only thing I will say is it does not blend well with alcohol. Even a hungover person shouldn't go on the Sonosphere. It seems to really make people nauseous who drink.
Imagine, yeah.
It's interesting. Yeah, there's something about it. Just doesn't blend with.
Well, drinking is a real low vibe thing. I know that, like drinking cocaine, all those type of things, and the other ones are kind of high vibrational. I'm super sensitive to energy. I'm an empathic person. I can feel electricity and electrical cords. People think I'm crazy, right? Like, I can pick up a plugged in electrical cord. I can feel the current coming through, even through the thing. So I would probably be extremely blown away by a Sonosphere, because I'm already tuned up to that sort of a thing. Energy fields. EMF. Have you ever had any EMF sensitive people try and go into it? Like, I'm sensitive to electromagnetic frequencies, like old TVs and computer monitors. When they would turn on, I could hear it in my head, like high pitch things. That the newer technology, not so much anymore. But have you ever seen any EMF sensitive people try it out?
Yeah, I'm one of those people also that can feel and hear electrical sounds that other people
can. Right on.
I'm definitely in that camp. And we've had quite a few HSP people, highly sensitive people, try a Sonosphere, and a lot of the time they just want it really subtle. Like, they're so sensitive that they don't want it turned up very much. And I'm unsure how effective it even is to write it if you don't want it turned up enough to like get the sound waves into you, because Like, I just don't know. Like, they always report it feels cool, it feels fine, but I'm always like skeptical they're getting a real, you know.
Crank it up to 11.
I want to go 11. Well, yeah, because the people who come in, because we have a little questionnaire we give people before a session, and it asks them about their sensitivity levels to sound. And my husband Rowan and I, we always get excited when somebody puts 10, because that's what we would want for ourselves. That's what we play it for when we go on it ourselves. And those people always have the best time. They get off and they're just like, wow, that was amazing. Like, holy shit. And that's the sound that we like it at too. But we always want to respect people's, sensitivity, and give them the type of session that they want, but it's also, I think the loudest, I always tell people to just, do it as loud as they can stand. And we will also start lower than that and like work up to the top level that you can stand, because we don't just start it out at like full blast. We like do a very like staged, gradual, layering of sound until the middle of the session is at its full volume, and what it's bringing in terms of physical feeling is at its peak, and then it starts to come down. So yes, we definitely designed this after psychedelic experiences, which are brought by nature, by eating entheogens that are brought to us by nature. We have been inspired in the very, formulation of our sessions. This is how nature does it. This is how nature brings you to the realization of yourself, as a part of the universe, as a piece of consciousness. That psychedelics will introduce you to that concept slowly as it unveils the true reality, and it takes away the distraction and the illusion, the Maya, and we can come into a synergy with our soul, basically. And that process, you can't just, you don't want to just, bam, like, here's your soul. No, you want to like kind of warm it up and sort of unfold it like a rose. You get to the full realization on your own very quickly, and then it starts to close back up and go back into the framework. And that is, and the pace at which it does that is really important. And in a psychedelic journey, everything is unfolding in this rate that you can't deny. There's like this motion happening in this rate, especially with with the visuals that you will see, and everything is like doing this and just like at a certain rate. And it's like, what determines that rate in a psychedelic journey, that everything's moving? I think it's nature. That's the unfoldment of the molecules. That's the rate at which it's unfolding, the reality and the realization. And so I've been really inspired by that pace, this beautiful pace. And that's what we base our sessions on. Just starting out slowly, feeling it getting more intense, seeing the layers start to layer up until you're in this full on, flux field of sound and lights, and then it slowly dissipates too, and it brings you back. And we really slowly turn off each speaker one at a time, really slowly fade it out, so that by the time we take out the last haptic speaker, you're almost down to zero, and then it's like, finally out. We've tried, like, we've even had electrical problems when we were first starting out. Like somebody kicked record and it pulled out all of a sudden and stopped everything at once, and I was just like, no, it felt awful. It felt awful to be like just ripped away from this bliss feeling, like in a second. So we were like, okay, yeah, we can't do that. We have to
like a cold bucket of water thrown on you or something. Hey, almost.
Yeah, it was not fun. So we figured that out on our own, thank God, and kind of got our session dialed in really nice. And we get people all tucked in on there with like a weighted blanket, give them this back warmer that goes under the back, and then we use
There's lights too, you said?
Yeah, there's lights in the room. We've turned the room into a galaxy of stars, and there's some light projectors that makes it look like there's stars everywhere. We've plastered all the walls with galaxy photo backdrops, and so the sonosphere is also lit up makes it look like a spaceship. So it's like you're in a spaceship out in outer space.
That's cool.
Yeah, and I'm going to be adding lights to the sphere, to the copper sphere. The inner sphere structure has lights on it, but I'm going to be adding lights to the spinning portion this month, which is really exciting because I've been working on this part for a long time to like transfer the electricity into the moving parts so that we can have lights on there. And basically I'm going to make it so that when the sphere spins, there's going to be lights on the inside of the copper pipes. So when it spins, it's going to make a sphere of light on the inside so that the person inside feels like they're in a sphere of light, as well as a sphere of sound. And that's going to really increase the feeling of being, in something. And it'll de-emphasize the galaxy outside. So I think I'm going to have it on like as an option if people want the sphere of light, or if they want the galaxy of stars, it's going to be different. So
yeah, I think like a sphere of light would probably be more healing, and then the galaxy would be more journey. Because I know I'm big time into out of body experiences. I do Dr. Monroe's meditations. Have you ever heard of those? The CIA used them and stuff like that.
Like the Monroe Institute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do that along with some other visualizations, and I go out of body, and that's what I do as part of it's kind of like the Hermetic principles. The farther you go out is actually the deeper you're going in. So you're supposed to visualize yourself coming out of your body, leaving Vancouver Island, the earth, out through the Milky Way. Your visualization is supposed to be going out to the stars because that's deeper with the journey within. But I think that would definitely enhance that situation.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it'll be fun to have that as an option, and it's certainly been in my vision of it, from the beginning. So it'll also make it more obvious like what the sphere is for, the outer sphere that spins. I get that question a lot, like what is this thing doing? What is this thing spinning? Because it has a lot of functions that are very subtle, but when I put the lights on, it'll be like even more functional. So yeah, I'm excited to unpack this idea farther, because it's always evolving, but I'm also really excited to like make my travel version, which is like a floor pretty much that'll hold like 18 people, and that'll be a haptic floor that you can put inside a dome, and I'll have different sizes for different size dome floors, and then there'll be like a surround sound that comes with it that is mobile as well. So I'm excited for that, and we're always going to have a location for the individual sessions, which even though it holds 2 people at a time, and we do couples on here all the time, but it is best to have it all to yourself. I mean, to have all the sound focused on you and get to stretch out and have the whole platform to yourself is luxurious and awesome, and feels amazing. So yeah, we have created something new and valuable, and the world is just figuring it out. And I'm getting ready. So,
I liked how you described it as on lifting the veil, the Maya. Maya is what I named my youngest daughter because of that, but I named her Maya Cherry because after my favorite author, Tom Robbins, because one of his characters is named Cherry and Skinny Legs and All, I believe it is. I can't remember. I've read every single book, but I remember you mentioning that you know Tom Robbins. That guy blew my hair back when I was a teenager. I remember, I think it was Jitterbug perfume or something was the first one a friend gave to me. And I remember like I could feel my brain like crackling while I was like reading it, like it was lighting it up or something.
Yeah.
And I was hooked on him ever since.
Yep, that is one of the best ones, and a true favorite of our family as well. Yeah, he's like my neighbor, of my mom's neighbor, and him and his wife are family friends. They're really awesome.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. And growing up like so close to where you did, I think I can't remember which one it is, another roadside attraction. Just as he describes everything, the estuaries and the sloughs and the creeks and the mist and the more like it's like, man, this is my life where I grew up. He can
Yeah.
describe that and captivate it exactly. It's like I'm looking out my front door as he's describing those things. He's a brilliant, brilliant author. I really love him.
Yeah, and it is a gorgeous place out here and super inspiring. And there's been so much magical stuff that has been born here, from books and music and ideas, and Sonosphere is no exception. And I think people, once they get out here, we also have an annual tulip uh, flower festival with the tulips. We have like fields of tulips, and people come and just see the flowers. And there's like swans landing here, and like huge fields of snow geese and swans, and like it's freaking out of a fairy tale. I
It
mean,
is. The West Coast is a super magic place. And did you know that like in South America and British Columbia, the soil is actually structured? Like there's like this is done on purpose. It's so rich, it's so good, it's such like Garden of Eden soil. Like somebody tampered with it and made it this way, like pre, Atlantis, pre-cataclysm or something like that. Some ancient civilization actually made it. And like you look at like the psilocybin mushrooms where I grew up grew as thick as blades of grass everywhere. And just the energy of the rainforest and everything is so alive and
it could be also from the cataclysms themselves, like depositing ash and fire, debris from fire, and cataclysm always brings renewed
rebirth.
diversity. But yeah, this just all the food that we grow here and all the luscious bounty is just a testament to that fertility that is here. And all the rivers, everything's clustered around the rivers. It is just beautiful. And I think we recently went down to LA to check out, the big city, to see if maybe we would want to bring the Sonosphere to a big city where people would have more access to it and stuff. And, where maybe we could make more of a business, maybe in a big city. And so we went down there, and not only is the rent like outrageous, but it's like, in a big city, there's so much happening. There's so much stuff that you can do. And especially in LA, there's all these showings and viewings all the time, movie stuff. And it just feels like we would be like begging for attention in a place like that. And and paying so much just to be there. I just, it just felt weird. It just felt like a weird place for the Sonosphere. And as soon as we got home, we were just like, so glad to be home, and the trees and the water and just so much peace. And
I know what you mean 100%. I get like not too like anxiety, but I'm energy sensitive. Going to the city like Vancouver, anything like that, it just has like edgy, like whatever. You could just feel the anxiety of the city, and it's so you come back to Vancouver Island, same thing, and it's just like everybody calls it island time because everybody's like, oh yeah, we'll get around to it when we get around to it. Everybody's pretty laid back here.
Yeah, it's real. And I think it's just been it was really eye-opening to go there all excited, thinking I'm gonna change my mind about where I want to live, and then because I'm so over it and stuff, and then I come back home and I'm delightfully just like grateful that I'm here, and I don't really want to live in LA. So I'm and people that are from Seattle, they are coming here to try it. They'll drive the hour or whatever to come try it. If it was in Seattle, I could probably get some more people, but I don't know. I just feel like for now, having it here, we might have less visibility, but people who are coming out here are getting more quality from their drive through the gorgeous valley and their descent into the forest to where we have the Sonosphere, and then opening the door of this old cabin to reveal a galaxy and a spaceship that they get to ride. I mean, it's freaking fun.
Cool. That's pretty cool. It seems to all be like synchronistic or meant to be. Like you said, it just wouldn't, I don't think it would have the same vibe in the city. There'd be, maybe it's like a, I don't know, a cleansing thing or a preparational thing, like you say, coming through all that through the forest and the valleys and everything like that. It's trying almost getting you ready for that experience, right?
I think it
Kind of
does.
vibrations, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So did you put Tom Robbins in the sonosphere?
I've been trying to get him. He was on vacation and then he had COVID, and so yeah, he's been invited, and I really do want to get him on here. So I think
He's a psychedelic kind of guy.
yeah, and he really encouraged me on the first model. Him coming to my gallery exhibit, writing the Sonosphere, and then leaving a personal comment in my guest book was just really special. And
Yeah, that's cool.
to have someone like him believe in me from the beginning. And when I say the beginning, I mean like I was 18. I just built this crazy thing and nobody really got it. Like nobody, I would say nobody, but like very few people truly understood what my intentions were, what I was trying to build. And maybe even less of a fraction of those people understood that I was never going to stop.
Yeah.
And he was one of the people that was just like, he just knew that what I made was magic and there was no denying it. And he told me to keep going. And I just, yeah, I'm keeping going.
Yeah, he's such an awesome guy that way. The guy that comes like being a outside the box thinker and different than everybody else. I just read it was this year. I didn't even know it existed. Tibetan Peach Pie is like autobiography.
Oh yeah.
And I was blown away. Like I knew he was down here on the islands there, just out of Seattle. I thought like he grew up there like a hippie, and he didn't. He came from like Kentucky, like total rednecks and everything. So like the total opposite of what people say. He was a revolutionary person from definitely where he came from. He was definitely a man out of time and out of space. But there's something magical about him and his writing. I forgot till right now. Well, you brought up the swans and stuff where you live. So like this is a trippy thing that happened to me. And even cowgirls get the blues, the swans or whatever that are at the ranch. So it says in the book, it's like they only exist in 3 places, and this ranch is one of them. Well, I grew up in a small town outside of Vancouver called Dewdney, and I moved over to Comox when I was 30. And one of the first things I do is I take the kids down the estuary, and we're walking the boardwalks, and there's a description of each plant and each thing, and then it says, here's the trumpeter swan. They only exist in 3 places. This town, the one I grew up, and a lake down in Wyoming, and I just got like the heebie-jeebies. I'm like,
oh,
like, right out of his book. And what are the odds that I lived in the 2 towns that these trumpeter swans exist only in 3 places, and I lived in 2 of them? It blew me away, man. It just creeped me right out.
there is some, yeah, and I will say that is true about reading Tom's books, that I almost couldn't read. I almost didn't read Jitterbug Perfume all the way because it was creeping me out, because the beginning was talking about, and this was really weird because I was like 23 when I started reading it, and I was working as a waitress. I was living in a studio apartment, and I was designing the Sonosphere. I was inventing it, but on the side. And I started reading Jitterbug Perfume, and it literally opens up with this artist waitress who lives in a studio apartment and is an inventor, scientist.
Yeah.
And I just started crying because I just got like all these chills, and I was like, how could he have known my exact situation?
Yeah.
And it was just the creepiest synchronicity. It just gave me so much chill. I don't know. And that way he wrote it like way before I was born too. Well, maybe like 2 years before I was born or something. Late 70s. I was born in the early 80s. So he wouldn't have known me or anything, It's like, it was just.
Yeah, I'm an 82 baby myself.
Me too, 82.
Yeah, right on.
And Brandon too. Brandon from the other podcast. He also.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm good friends with Brandon. Yeah, we're taking over the internet.
Yeah.
No, the same thing. I got chills. I think it was Jitterbug Perfume. That's one where she's talking about too, or breaking down Irish folklore, that it's really quantum physics and all that kind of stuff, like fairies and sprites are really molecules and protons and neutrons and everything going around. Like, and I was just like, what the hell? Like, I was just a teenager reading that, going, this guy is so awesome because I'm Irish myself and love all the folklore and everything. Definitely gave you a whole new perspective. And like I said, it felt like my brain was crackling. I remember that when I was reading Jitterbug Perfumes. It was opening up doorways, that's for sure. Concepts and ideas.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I think he taps into some crazy storylines that are maybe from the future or the past or woven in. It's just crazy how it relates with everyone that reads it, or some part of it just really nails it for them.
Yeah, well, I named my kid after one of the characters.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's awesome.
crazy. Well, I think I will put your information, your email, is that good, in the show notes so people can contact you and come on down and check this out?
Oh yeah, and my website for the Sonosphere is just thesonosphere.com, and it's SONSPHERE, just Sonosphere, thesonosphere.com. That is our main site for all this.
I just got shithouse luck. I was driving my daughter to school this morning, and on the CBC radio, they were just talking about there used to be a ferry direct from Sydney on Vancouver Island to Anacortes.
Oh yeah,
it's been canceled since COVID, and they're talking about they might not bring it back till 2030. And I was thinking, oh, that's shitty, because that would be so easy to come down there, right? Rather than going all the way through Vancouver and around.
Yeah.
That'd be a lot more direct route. But the First Nations are trying to bother them to get it going because, they existed before the borders and this and that, and that's all of their territory. So they're saying, come on, man, you got to get this going over. We got family down there, and we always have been using this ferry all the time. We don't want to go all the way around. It's too long and too expensive. So hopefully they get that ferry going down there. It's a lot easier to get down there. They might still have the Victoria to Seattle one, though, I'm pretty sure.
That was the one in Anacortes was my favorite. Was my favorite family thing we used to go do when I was little. Was to go to Victoria, Vancouver, in Canada.
You come up lots then.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I've been besides Canada, I've been all over Canada. Seattle's one of the only places I've been to. I actually went to the decommissioning of the USS Missouri because I was obsessed with World War II when I was 15. Building models, and I went to the decommissioning of the USS Missouri. It was like my grandpa, very Canadian, wrote a letter to the General such and such of the U.S. Navy, and we got special passes to come down there for the decommissioning ceremony. It was pretty neat.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder if you had a past life and that you were connecting with.
Oh, possibly, yeah, possibly a World War II. Maybe died in World War II. I could be up for that for sure. Yeah, when I was young, I was obsessed with models and World War II history. Yeah, for sure. So probably definitely a past life.
Yeah, a lot of those attractions we have when we're young in our teens are telltale signs of where we've been and sometimes where we're going, but a lot of time it's just something familiar that we're recognizing.
For sure.
Again.
Definitely, yeah, where we're going is now it's just all spirituality and the occult and every religion and everything. That's all I do. I work in machine underground in the mine, and I never knew what a podcast was till 2018, I think. 2018 or 2019. Somebody's like, oh, I was advocating for microdosing, and this guy's like, oh yeah, you should listen to Sam Tripoli on Tinfoil Hat. They were just talking about microdosing, and I'm like, oh, what's Tinfoil Hat? Oh, it's a conspiracy show. I'm like, oh, I like conspiracies. And that was it. Now I'm a podcast junkie and started my own. haven't looked back.
I think it's great. I'm very grateful to be included on here, and thank you for having me.
No, it was a pleasure having you. This is a cool concept and a cool idea, and I hope people come check it out. I'm going to try and get down there and check it out soon. I got to get a passport going here. Mine's expired, but maybe that'll be one of my first trips is to come down there. That's a quick and easy one.
Yeah, please do.
I will. So stay on the line. I'm just going to hear. Okay, thanks, folks. Check out the Sonosphere. I will have all the links in the show notes. Head down to Seattle if you're up here in BC. That's not that far of a trip. If you're anywhere in the world, you must come check out the West Coast. You've never seen anything like it. It's the Garden of Eden. It's God's lands. Everything grows here. That's for sure. Peace out, everybody.
Okay, thank you.
Did I stop the video?
Mm-hmm.
Recording. Okay. Stop recording. Huh?